The blackmail charge is not the only reason Jeff Bezos was in the news this week. After the Washington Post paid an estimated $10 million to run an ad during the Super Bowl, there was outrage in the newsroom from people who think there was a better way to use that money.
When we go off to war, when we exercise our rights.
The slickly produced 60-second ad was narrated by Hollywood's Tom Hanks.
When our neighbors are at risk, no matter the cost.
It was nostalgic and touching.
Knowing keeps us free.
But not everyone was impressed, including some Post staffers who tweeted, maybe the next $10 million could go toward better health benefits, parental leave, equal pay, and more jobs for reporters. Now unfreeze our pensions, pay an equal wage, and strengthen maternity benefits. But the Post had its defenders. CNN's Jeffrey Toobin tweeted, way to go, great ad, great sentiment. And here's a reality check from a commenter. That money was never going to journalism, and I'd rather see it used to promote journalism than buy Jeff Bezos a jetpack or whatever. File under no good deed goes unpunished.
Well, that commentator was exactly right. It's never an either or. The ABC used to do this, your money, your choice. It's not, you can't kind of choose not to fund one thing and fund another. That's not the way it works. So I actually enjoyed the ad. Some people thought it was a little macho-centric and that kind of thing, but, you know, you don't see news organizations promoting themselves. They don't have the money to do it. Jeff Bezos has the money. The thing is, we don't really know who paid for this ad, do we?
No, we really don't. I mean, Jeff Bezos might have paid for this out of his own pocket, especially since it's been reported that this ad came together at the last minute after Bezos canceled another ad for his SpaceX venture. The other thing is, I don't think people should look at this as a zero-sum economic thing. It could be that the Washington Post is going to get a fair amount of subscription revenue out of putting this ad on. I mean, it's certainly, well, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. The one thing that I do have to agree with is that the Washington Post claims it's profitable. They have been busting the chops of the union in a pretty harsh way. We could say the same thing about John Henry at the Globe.
I think, you know, a couple of ways to look at this. I think is the content of the ad. I would agree with you. I thought it was well done. I do think that they have been running that ad in movie theaters. They ran it in connection with the Dick Cheney movie. So it's been out there in other ways. They just grabbed it, I think, and put it in this particular place. But I think the content of the ad is interesting. What I also thought was notable is the reporters that appear in the ad. Only one of them, I think, is a Washington Post reporter.
Yeah, it was like Anderson Cooper and Brett Baer.
Right. So it's really more about
journalism,
which I think is laudable. I also think, though, what is also interesting here is the pushback is coming from reporters inside the Washington Post newsroom. They're going public with a criticism. I think that says a lot about the culture of a newsroom, that you can criticize your own bosses for spending a lot of money in a way they don't think is right, and you can keep your job. So, you know, good on them for that.
I think that's what jumped out at me. It's like, wow, I don't know that I've been so public with my displeasure over something like this. So it must be that they have a certain amount of freedom, or feel that they have a freedom to talk about it like that. You know, I appreciated that ad when I saw it. I also know that this probably would not have been a big deal, except for the fact that we all know how much these ads cost, right? Exactly. We don't know. I mean, these ads are always expensive. They've been running a campaign forever. They probably have a $50 million budget for marketing. I don't know what it is, but they spend millions of dollars on this whole campaign that they have. And so if you really want to talk about spending money on promoting yourself, they probably should dig into the numbers. It's not that, though. It's more about the image around a Super Bowl ad that becomes a little bit harsher, I think, for people.
So I think it's really important because to know who paid for it, and I do think, now I'm thinking, I think it was Jeff Bezos. I don't think the Washington Post. And I actually think the best criticism came from a reporter who said, I'm really proud to work here first, and then said, you know, listen, this is, you know, you gotta help us here. And by the way, if they get more subscriptions, that doesn't help their pension plan per se. That doesn't help their, you know, maternity leave. So these are things that are very real. So you have to support the people who are doing the work. And if you're going to do an ad that says appreciate how the work is done, that it's really shoe leather, then appreciate the people who are doing it.
All right.